Hi guys, we have so many updates from Bitcoin ecosystem for you today, starting with Fractal launch dates and all the accompanying apps that already launched even today. Then we have stuff going on in BRC-100, which is like a fork of BRC-20. It also launched today, and you have received an airdrop of your BRC-20 assets directly there. So much to cover, so many awesome news, so let's just get started immediately. So, first things first, we have Fractal Bitcoin launch date. It is going to be September 9th, 2024, and it's so amazing because it's about a week away, which is crazy. So, you have last week to test out all the dApps, potentially speculate on an airdrop that might be coming from Fractal Bitcoin, but most importantly, we also have one of the first dApps on Fractal Bitcoin. It is PizzaSwap. It is currently live. It just went live a couple hours ago, and all you have to do is go to their, of course, official website, check out the official links, and go to Fractal Testnet Uniswap IO Swap, and here on PizzaSwap, you're able to swap your tokens for any other tokens on Fractal Bitcoin Testnet. Again, as always, make sure that you are on the Fractal Bitcoin Testnet in the Uniswap wallet. You will need some sats, of course, for gas, and you also need some tokens to swap around. And this is a little bit counterintuitive because even though you probably have some tokens to swap, it's going to show you swap balance 0. And that is because if you have minted some test sats or any other tokens beforehand, you will first need to actually go here in the deposit tab, because you actually cannot make a swap before you make a transfer inscription, or in this case, a deposit inscription. So you'll need to actually inscribe your sats, choose any amount that you want. You can go like any number that you want, but currently understand that this is a couple hours after the launch, so maybe by the time you're watching this video, the sats mempool testnet pricing, like the amount of cost for gas on Fractal Bitcoin, is probably going to be much less. But now, if you want to make a simple inscription, like I have a lot of testnet Fractal Bitcoin, but I still can't do it, so it's crazy. But yeah, hopefully by the time you're watching this, the gas fees will be much lower, so you'll actually be able to inscribe this transfer. And then once you have your inscription for deposit made, then you will be able to actually make a swap and do a couple of these transactions on your own. Of course, as always, all the links for everything we discuss in all the videos will always be in the description of the video, but you just have to go to the first link in the description. Of course, there's going to be many other dApps deployed in Fractal as well. PizzaSwap was just the first one, previously called Fractal Swap. They're going to be starting to integrate with some bridges, so you'll be able to test bridges before Fractal goes live as well. And there are many more wallets, protocols, and apps also down the road, so very soon. Maybe by the time you're watching this, some of them are already live on Fractal Bitcoin Testnet. Other huge news is that we also have Fractal Tokenomics. They came out with their tokenomics, and TLDR is that 80% of the tokens is going to be allocated for the community, with just 20% for the team, and they're going to have long vesting periods as stated in their official documentations here. You can see exactly the percentages that are here displayed. However, the ones that we're mostly interested in are this ecosystem treasury and community grants. So 25% is displayed between these two, and of course, we are speculating on some airdrops, so potentially this is masked in these two interesting terms. And if you still haven't done much on Fractal Bitcoin Testnet, best thing you can do is just watch our last video where we go in depth on the first steps, such as getting your Fractal Bitcoin from the Fractal faucet, minting your sats and BRC-20s on Testnet. And recently, there's also this thing called Test Sats. This is the one that you can use to swap on the Fractal Bitcoin swap page. Now, for the rest of the BRC-20 news, the biggest other update is that we have received a BRC-100 launch today, which means that everybody who had assets on BRC-20, such as sats, Ordi, and others, have received a forked version on the new BRC-100 protocol. And this is basically a fork, but of course their assets, their carbon copies, are worth much less than their original because they were airdropped for free. You can go into more detail here on the inbrc.org. Here you can see all the market caps and everything for these new tokens on the new protocol. However, I would not trust these numbers entirely as of yet, because here it shows that the BRC-100 version of sats is over 1 billion market cap, which not even the original sats currently isn't. So take this with a grain of salt. But basically, you can do the same thing as you can do on the BRC-20. You can go at here in the inscribe tab, get some of your inscriptions going. Of course, this is everything on mainnet, so you need to actually pay real money to get this going. So this is nothing to do with Fractal Bitcoin, guys. And you can also check everything, all the tokens that you actually have by here going on the indexer. You can search by your asset. You can search by your address. You just copy paste your address. And here you can see all the assets that you have on this new network. Of course, maybe it's not currently updated, but hopefully by the time you're watching this, you'll be able to see all your forked assets. Of course, if you want to speculate, you think that this might go to distance, you can try to mint some of these while they're still cheap. As I said, their versions of BRC-100 are much, much cheaper than the original, but you can also try your luck with maybe minting some of these that are not still 100%. Keep in mind that there's one huge caveat to this, that 80% of some of these tokens have been pre-mined, which means that the holders are primarily already, like the tokens are already minted. So you have to be very careful with this. It could be a red flag, but again, we're all speculators here. So if you want to take a risk on BRC-100s, this is the thing that you have to take a look at. Also, there seems to be a very rapidly growing ecosystem for the BRC-100s. For example, you have a 100 swap, which is the first DEX on BRC-100. Here you can swap your tokens. Just keep in mind that before you can make a swap, first you have to inscribe a transfer inscription of your tokens. So it is a bit tedious, but it is the way to go right now in these early stages. You can also provide liquidity in their pools, and you can even use wrapped Bitcoin, but some of these functionalities are still in testnet. So hopefully in this week, as launch is already live on mainnet for BRC-100s, hopefully we will also have most of these dApps already in mainnet as well. Finally, if you want to check an in-depth guide on how this whole thing works, if you want to see this in detail and do your own research, which is always recommended, I will also leave a documentation of the entire protocol here in the link. Always, as always, links are in the first link of the description of the video. Now, this is all a lot of information, and I'll be honest, it is really difficult to keep eyes on all of this if you're just doing it on your own. This is why we have our community, our Discord, where we have a BRC20 channel, as well as many, many other channels for active airdrops. But this BRC20 channel has been exploding recently because there's been so much great alpha and so much incredible discussions. This part of community is what makes it all worth it, because it is so much easier to keep track of everything when you have a lot of people doing the same thing, and then you pull your knowledge, pull all of your experience together, and then we all help each other with links, with details, with all the latest alpha. So if this is something that interests you, make sure to check the subscriptions tab on our website. Here you can see all the plans for monthly, yearly memberships, as well as a Discord as an airdrop tracking application that helps you keep organized and keeps you on top of your game, even if you're multi-walleting or you're just getting started. But wait, there's more. So other Fractal news is the fact that we also have first pre-miner for Fractal Bitcoin, and it's called FSIC. If you remember, we had similar thing with Runes and R6, but basically this will allow you to firstly in testnet phase get some testnet Fractal Bitcoin, and then when the Fractal Bitcoin goes live on September 9th, they will actually transition as well into the mainnet phase of this whole crazy adventure. So how it's going to work, you need to buy the FSIC ordinals on the Magic Eden website. So you need to have one of these, and then you will also get one testnet Fractal Bitcoin just for messing around if you want to just explore the testnet. This is also an airdrop route, because people who maybe take part in this will receive some kind of airdrop allocation, potential airdrop allocation from Fractal Bitcoin and Uniset team. But primarily, I'm thinking that this is a relatively small investment of about $300, $400 into the floor price NFT for FSIC. But if it actually starts mining the real Fractal Bitcoin when it goes live on September 9th, it might actually be a relatively interesting investment, depending how Fractal Bitcoin as a token actually performs once it goes live. So for my speculators out there, this is something that you can consider. Next up, we also have some news from the first ordinals collection. Well, not first, but one of the ordinals called Fractal Bitcoin, and this is Fractal Robotica. Mint details are on September 4th or at 10 p.m. UTC, and it's going to have a very limited supply, but if you want to speculate on it being worth something in the future, you can mint this on testnet, and who knows, maybe it should be a free mint. Actually, it will definitely be a free mint because it's a testnet mint. But who knows, maybe if Fractal Bitcoin takes off, this actually picks up some value in the future. Now, there's been a huge amount of developments and the new updates from Fractal team and Unisat team in the last week or 2 weeks. So if you want to stay up to date to everything, make sure to join their Discord and follow their official Twitter account with notifications on, just to keep up to date with all the latest developments. Regarding the last piece of Bitcoin news, we have something on technically Bitcoin, but it's a wrapped version, so you have to be a little more careful with this. On EtherFi, you can get a very nice 4-in-1. You can get your standard EtherFi and symbiotic points by depositing your eBTC, so EtherFi Bitcoin. They have a liquid restaking token with which you're generating EtherFi points, symbiotic points, and from Karak, you're getting Karak points and VETA points. Currently, there's just about 35 million in total value locked, so it might actually still be a decent opportunity. And you can also take this a step further with the classic Pendle route, where you can deposit your eBTC to generate additional yield. And here you can either go with PTs, which are kind of like simply yield farming, or you can speculate with YTs, which burn your capital, but you're generating a huge amount of points. So yeah, if you're a real degen, then you can take the YT pool. But you know, if you want to preserve your capital and get some extra yield, then the PT pool on Pendle is the way to go. And finally, CC2 has also made a statement regarding Bitcoin in the recent days. He's calling them Bitcoin Ponzis. So this is a list of protocols this is currently in, which is Sol, Bedrock, Fel, Lorenzo. So most of these we already talked about, but it is great to see that we are not alone in this crazy Bitcoin adventure. Of course, take this with a grain of salt. Most of these are probably not going to give you a solid airdrop. He also says that it's probably going to be a glorified yield farming, maybe 20-30% APR, but this actually does a magic trick and gives us another 5-figure airdrop. We will see. Finally, I was really surprised that there's no P-stake in his list, but then I realized that they still have the same problem they had before. So currently there's at least about 50 BTC currently in this pool, not 5 like the last time we covered it. But the problem still remains that if your address holds runes or inscriptions, you cannot participate in this, which is crazy. They have a sets drop campaign, so maybe this is actually a great opportunity because there's only about 50 BTC currently in this protocol, but you can tell me, sure, you can make another wallet without runes and inscriptions and then fund that wallet and then use that wallet. It's a lot of work and people are lazy. But again, this might be the perfect example where an underfarmed airdrop actually delivers, actually cooks, because they literally have a sets drop campaign, which is coming soon, which means that probably some kind of airdrop is in the works. So if you want to speculate on P-stake, then you can actually go with Babylon and actually deploy with this. And that's a wrap for all the Bitcoin ecosystem updates for today. If you like the content, make sure to like and subscribe with bell notifications on. And for any questions or comments, drop them in the comment sections below. Again, if you are serious about crypto and airdrops, you want to take your Bitcoin adventures and all others to the next level, we're waiting for you in our Discord. Thanks for watching. Till next time, have an amazing day.